Hi, this is Daniel. You're listening to English Unlocked. If you're listening right now, maybe you feel tired. Not physically tired, but tired of trying. Tired of thinking. Tired of pushing yourself forward. Tired of telling yourself that everything will be fine, even when you're not sure it will. And that's okay. Tonight, we are not going to fix your life. We are not going to give you advice you didn't ask for. We are just going to talk, slowly, honestly, about that quiet feeling inside you. The feeling that says, I've been trying for a long time, and I don't know how much energy I have left. In real life, people don't talk about this often. They say they are fine. They say they are busy. They say they are working on themselves. But late at night, when everything is quiet, different thoughts appear. You start asking yourself real questions. Why am I still here? Am I moving forward or just repeating the same days? What if I'm doing my best and it's still not enough? These are not weak questions. They are human questions. In everyday English, people describe this feeling in simple ways. They say, I'm exhausted. I'm burned out. I don't have the energy anymore. I'm tired of trying so hard. Notice how natural these phrases are. No complicated grammar. No big words. Just real-life English. Sometimes, being tired of trying doesn't mean you want to give up. It means you've been strong for too long without rest. You've been holding things together, making decisions, being responsible, being patient. And patience, when it lasts too long, becomes heavy. People often think motivation disappears because we are lazy. But in reality, motivation disappears when we don't feel seen, even by ourselves. Maybe you've been telling yourself, others have it harder. I shouldn't complain. I just need to push through. But English has a simple phrase that changes everything. I've had enough. Not in an angry way, in an honest way. I've had enough of pretending I'm okay. I've had enough of forcing myself to be strong. This sentence doesn't mean the end. It means the truth. And truth is where real change starts. Tonight, let English be something gentle. Something that doesn't demand anything from you. Just words. Just sound. Just understanding. You don't need to remember everything. You don't need to repeat anything out loud. Just listen. Just let the language and the feeling settle naturally. We are not rushing anywhere. This is English Unlocked. Real-life English. Spoken slowly. For real people. Sometimes, when you're tired of trying, you start blaming yourself. You think, maybe I'm not strong enough. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. Maybe everyone else knows how to live, except me. But in real life, almost everyone feels this way at some point. They just don't say it out loud. In English, there is a very honest sentence people use when life feels heavy. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. It sounds simple, but it carries a lot of meaning. It doesn't mean you're lost forever. It means you're in between. Between who you were and who you're becoming. This space feels uncomfortable, quiet, uncertain, and uncertainty is hard, especially for people who like control. Maybe you used to have plans, clear plans, goals that made sense. And now, when you think about the future, it feels blurry. People say, I feel stuck. I feel lost. I feel like I'm standing still. These are very common, very real phrases. Notice something important. They describe feelings, not failures. Feeling lost does not mean you are failing. It means your old direction no longer fits. In everyday conversations, native speakers often say, "I'm trying to figure things out. I'm taking it one day at a time. I don't have all the answers yet." The word yet is powerful. Not yet. Not now. But maybe later. Life rarely changes in loud, dramatic moments. More often, it changes quietly. A small thought. A small decision. A small moment of honesty. Sometimes, the bravest thing you can say is, "I need a break." Not a vacation. Not an escape. A break from pressure. A break from expectations. A break from the idea that you must always be improving. In English, there's a gentle phrase people use when they allow themselves to slow down. "I'm giving myself some time." That sentence is an act of self-respect. You don't need to know where you're going tonight. You don't need a 5-year plan. Right now, it's enough to be here. Listening. Breathing. Let the words come and go. Let your thoughts be messy. You're not behind. You're not late. You're human. When life feels unclear, the mind becomes noisy. Thoughts repeat themselves. Questions come back again and again. What if I chose the wrong path? What if I missed my chance? What if it's too late? In real-life English, people rarely ask these questions out loud, but they live with them quietly. There is a very common phrase native speakers use when they feel this inner noise. "My head is full." It doesn't mean information. It means emotions. Too many feelings. Too many worries. Too many what ifs. When this happens, people often try to fix everything at once. They rush. They push. They force decisions. But forcing clarity usually creates more confusion. That's why you will often hear people say, "I need to clear my head." "I need some space." "I just want some quiet." These sentences are not about running away. They are about listening. Sometimes clarity doesn't come from thinking harder. It comes from doing less. Walking without music. Sitting with a warm drink. Letting silence exist. In English, silence is not always uncomfortable. There is a beautiful phrase, "I'm sitting with my thoughts." It means you are not fighting them. You are allowing them. When you stop pushing yourself to have answers, something changes. You start noticing small truths. What feels heavy? What feels empty? What still feels alive inside you? People often discover that they are not lost in life. They are simply tired of pretending. Pretending to be strong. Pretending to be certain. Pretending to be okay. There is another honest sentence people say in quiet moments. "I don't have it figured out." And that sentence can be freeing. Because once you stop pretending, you can start choosing again. Slowly. Gently. Not from fear. Not from pressure. But from truth. You don't need a perfect direction tonight. You only need one small thing that feels real. One honest thought. One calm breath. One moment of being kind to yourself. You are allowed to pause. You are allowed to feel unsure. This is not the end of your story. It's a quiet chapter. There is something important people rarely talk about. When they say they're tired of trying, it's not that they want to stop living. It's that they want to stop performing. Performing strength. Performing confidence. Performing motivation. In real life, Many people live in a constant performance. They smile when they feel empty. They say, "I'm fine," when they feel lost. They stay productive even when they are exhausted inside. In English, there is a quiet sentence that reveals this truth. I'm tired of pretending. This sentence is not dramatic. It's honest. Pretending takes energy. And when that energy is gone, something has to change. Another realization appears here. You don't actually need to become someone new. You need to stop being someone you're not. That's a powerful shift. People often say, "I just want to be myself again. I don't recognize myself lately. I miss the old me." But usually, the old you is not gone. It's just buried under expectations. Expectations from others. Expectations from society. Expectations you placed on yourself years ago. In everyday English, people express this gently. I put too much pressure on myself. I'm being too hard on myself. I need to be kinder to myself. These phrases are not excuses. They are awareness. And awareness is where change begins. You might notice that when you stop pushing, your body reacts first. Your shoulders drop. Your breathing slows. Your jaw relaxes. That's not coincidence. The body often knows before the mind does. Listening to English slowly like this mirrors that same process. You're not chasing meaning. You're allowing it. You don't need to understand every word. Understanding the feeling is enough. And the feeling right now is permission. Permission to rest. Permission to pause. Permission to not know. You are not falling behind. You are recalibrating. Life doesn't move in straight lines. It moves in cycles. Rest is part of movement. Silence is part of clarity. Being tired of trying doesn't mean you failed. It means you've been strong for a long time. And strength needs rest. After you allow yourself to stop performing, something unexpected happens. You begin to feel lighter, not happier, not more motivated, just lighter. The constant pressure slowly leaves your body. The need to prove something fades. You realize that many of your decisions in the past were not wrong. They were simply made by a version of you who was trying to survive. And survival doesn't look like clarity. It looks like coping. In real-life English, people often describe this moment like this. I did the best I could at the time. I didn't know better back then. I was just trying to get through it. These sentences are not excuses. They are compassion. Compassion for your past self. When you hear them, you stop judging yourself so harshly. You stop rewriting your story as a failure. You start seeing it as experience. Experience changes how you speak about yourself. Instead of saying, "I wasted so much time," you say, "I learned a lot. It wasn't easy. It shaped me." Language matters. The way you talk about your past changes how heavy it feels. Another quiet realization comes here. You don't need to rush into a new identity. You don't need to label yourself. You can stay undefined for a while. In English, people express this with simple phrases. I'm figuring things out. I'm in a transition. I'm in between right now. These sentences leave space. They don't close doors. And space is exactly what you need. When you're tired of trying, you may also notice that your priorities shift. You care less about being impressive, less about being busy. You care more about feeling stable, about sleeping better, about having honest conversations. In real life, this sounds like, I value peace more now. I don't want unnecessary stress. I'm choosing what feels sustainable. Sustainable is an important word. Not exciting, not dramatic, but lasting. Learning English like this is sustainable too. No pressure, no deadlines, no competition, just exposure, just listening, just presence. You don't need to push tonight. You don't need to decide anything. You're allowed to simply exist in this moment. And sometimes, that's the most healing thing you can do. We stay here a little longer. When you're ready, tell me, and we'll continue. At some point, you may notice that your inner dialogue becomes quieter, not because problems disappeared, not because everything is solved, but because you stopped arguing with yourself. You no longer replay the same conversations in your head. You no longer rehearse explanations for things that haven't happened. You allow life to be unfinished. In real-life English, people describe this state very simply. I'm letting things be. I'm not fighting it anymore. I'm allowing myself to feel this. These sentences don't sound impressive, but they show emotional maturity. When you stop fighting yourself, you stop draining your energy. That energy slowly returns, not as motivation, but as stability. You start trusting small signals again. Hunger, tiredness, curiosity, relief. These signals guide you better than pressure ever did. You might notice that you're less reactive. Things that used to trigger you now feel distant, not because you don't care, but because you care differently. In everyday English, people express this shift with phrases like, I don't take it personally anymore. I'm learning to respond, not react. I'm choosing my energy. Choosing your energy is a powerful concept. It means you recognize your limits, and you respect them. This is where boundaries quietly appear. Not aggressive boundaries, not dramatic ones. Simple boundaries. I need rest. I'm not available for that. I need time. These sentences are calm. They don't justify. They don't explain. They protect. And protection is not weakness. It's wisdom. As this settles, you may realize something else. You're no longer asking life to give you certainty. You're asking it to give you honesty. And honesty feels lighter than certainty. Certainty demands control. Honesty allows change. Listening to English in this state helps reinforce that idea. Language doesn't rush you. It doesn't demand performance. It meets you where you are. And that's why you're still listening. Not because you're waiting for answers, but because this space feels safe, familiar, grounded. We continue gently, letting these ideas settle naturally. You've been listening quietly, without pressure, without trying to fix anything. And that's enough. Sometimes, understanding doesn't come from effort. It comes from allowing things to be exactly as they are. You don't need to feel motivated right now. You don't need to have answers. You don't need to be strong. Just being here is enough. English doesn't have to be a task. It can be a background, a calm voice, a familiar sound in your life. And that's how it stays. If this episode felt comforting, you can listen to more on the channel. Each one is made to be slow, real, and human. This is English Unlocked. Real life English, spoken slowly and clearly. I'm Daniel. Thank you for staying. Take care of yourself.